TurboCASH.net. Free accounting downloads.
Welcome back. It's Expresso live on SABC3, waking you up to a brand new kind of morning. I'm joined by Mr. Wayne Flint this morning to talk about open source software. We've been talking about that quite a lot. First of all, good morning.
Morning.
Have you had some breakfast?
Yes, I have.
You tried some of the muffins?
I'll get one later.
Those are really good. I mean, please do try them. But anyway, let's talk about open source software. Sure. I mean, we've been going on about TurboCASH. We know that it's open source software, but just kind of getting back to the basics of it and how it kind of comes to be. How is it free in the first place?
Well, the way open source works, basically, there's two sort of donations. The first is a government or a university which starts the project. But because they're not in the software business, they're not interested in selling it, they then offer the code free to the public to work on and develop it further. The other form is a philanthropic donation. The TurboCASH project, for instance, was started by Philip Koopman and some developers in Joburg and in Cape Town. But when they were done with it, instead of keeping the source locally in South Africa, they thought, well, let's make this open source and give it out to the world and see what happens from there. Yeah,
but I mean, I think with most products, people go into shops and you tend to think that when you pay for something, especially if it's more expensive, it's of a higher quality. Is open source software necessarily inferior because it's free?
I understand that logic, but I mean, there are some real-world examples that refute that. If you take Expresso TV, for instance, that's free. But we all know that it's probably the best morning show on at the moment. Exactly.
I like what he just said there. But I mean, at the end of the day, people still pay their TV licenses to the SABC.
It's a small donation if you think of what other examples are there. You could go out and rent a DVD this morning, or you could go to the morning theatre. Yeah. But you choose to watch Expresso, even though it's free, everyone's tuned in and they're watching it. And that's probably, like I said, the best example that they have. So just because something costs a lot of money doesn't always mean that it's better. I mean, you should also think of the reverse. If software costs a lot of money, that means that they have to support the product. Yeah. Whereas open source products cost nothing, which means that they have to work out of the box. Because there is support via the community, but there's not someone that you pick up and phone directly and say, okay, now I'm going to charge you 500 Rand. Yeah. But I mean, at some point of the game, the software has to get developed. Yes. So in that instance, who gets paid? I mean, we spoke of a small fee that you do pay, even though watching Expresso, which is the best morning show in the world. But who pays for these small developments in between that end up being the finished product? Okay, my personal example was a few years ago. I was using proprietary retail software. I had a little shop I was running, and I had a lot of problems with the software. And every time I phoned for support, they were just trying to sell me a new license for support. I thought, well, this is not going to work out. I then tried TurboCASH. And it solved a lot of the problems I had, but also brought some other problems which TurboCASH didn't have at that stage. I then took it upon myself, putting my time and effort, and also some other developers, to develop that point-of-sale version of TurboCASH. Yeah. Spent about 2 or 3 years doing it. Right. And at the moment, across the world, I think there's a few thousand people using that software that I wrote. So I put my time and effort into it. I made some money selling a bit of manuals and stuff like that there. So there's other ways to make money. It's not the mainstream. You'll do manuals, you do some help videos, and you make your money there. So every person in the project sort of generates their own income. Yes. So like you said, as with most software, the income is made from the software itself. Whereas here, it's made in the little manual that you sell. But the big product actually is what's free. Someone pays for your time to specifically set up a network version for a point of sale or something like a special project that they want. Yeah. But the main rule is that whatever you do develop in TurboCASH is free to the whole community when it's done. So, but then how does it benefit the people that are involved in it, in the development, or is it all a big philanthropic kind of effort? That's the thing. I mean, the people who are involved with it, they do understand that they all have other businesses where they do make their money, sort of either a point of sale business, something like that. So they use the same community project and they take it back to their little business, and that's the way they make money. So if you are interested in any form of software out there, it doesn't have to be